Welcome back, fancy folks. So, I've got a little bit of a different video today. We're going to talk about some news here in the Magic community, and we're going to try and talk at it from the perspective of Commander and how it could affect a Commander. I know that this press release is getting out there. It's been kind of read across multiple channels, things like that. So, I'm not going to go through it word for word, but basically, Wizards of the Coast put out a release on the 10th, so a couple of days ago, just saying why they had changed the name for Kaladesh to Avishkar for the upcoming Ether Drift set. And, again, I'm not going to read it word for word. I will say that basically they kind of went through some feedback they had gotten from some consultants. They mentioned that apparently when the original Kaladesh came out, they had gotten some community feedback or internal feedback that it could have been offensive to somebody out there. So that is what really prompted this change. Now, what I want to point out for Commander players and kind of on the news front for us is this last paragraph to me is interesting. It says similarly, we have not changed historical terminology in past products or cards. The name of the set Kaladesh remains Kaladesh. Kaladesh Remastered will still be searchable as such, and past cards like Invasion of Kaladesh or Chandra Fire of Kaladesh will keep those names. So they're not going to use, obviously, Kaladesh in any card names going forward or any of the lore release kind of press pieces or anything like that. Any of the story releases, I would imagine, won't mention Kaladesh. But, I've seen some kind of panic across the board that these cards are going to be banned out. Just, maybe the entire set will be banned out. I don't think that's going to happen. And I especially don't think that's going to happen for Commander. And the reason why is that, when this happened before, because if we take a look back at the bannings that happened back in 2020, when George Floyd was going on, and, a lot of this stuff was kind of put under a microscope, for better, for worse, whatever you have to think about that. I'm not going to get into the politics of it, but even then, it wasn't a lot of cards that got banned. Most of these cards outside of, maybe Crusade is a card you would see in a white deck, stuff like that. I don't think a lot of these cards were getting played in Commander much anyway. I remember at the time people were kind of trolling some of these cards and putting up the EDH rec stats and things like that, asking why they would even need to be looked at in Commander because they just weren't really played. And I think that we're going to have a similar circumstance to some of the Kaladesh cards. Now, what's interesting to me is that, even these two cards they mention in this press release, these are both cards that could absolutely see play in Commander. No matter how you feel about this issue, you're very likely to see these at tables. If the new Commander format that Wizards is putting out, if it does try to ban out these cards simply for, having Kaladesh mentioned in the name or something like that, I think we'll see at least a minor amount of pushback, and that people will still continue to play the cards if they feel like their deck really wants the card, because it's, from all I've ever heard about Kaladesh, it's a pretty beloved setting. I know, my play group likes Kaladesh quite a bit. We've seen some of the cards get played quite a bit, so I would be really surprised if that was something that kind of came into fruition, that we see a bunch of bannings from this. But one thing I did want to do while I've kind of got everything pulled up is just also cross-reference here. If you looked at Commander, let me scroll down here to get to Commander. All right, we're looking at the older format still. We're looking at Legacy here. Okay, here's Commander. So if you look at Commander and you look at these cards that were banned in 2020, another interesting thing is that at the time, at least, I don't think the Commander committee felt the need to ban these cards. They've never been banned as far as I know. I think we'll see the same thing with any Kaladesh bannings. If anything, we might see, some cards eventually banned out in Legacy or something like that. With the kind of climate how it is right now, with how just sensitive these issues can be, one way or the other, I wouldn't be shocked to see that, but I don't see this drifting over into Commander. So, I know there's some videos out there that are kind of panicking. They're saying, sell off your Commander cards that could be interpreted this way, anything like that. But I don't think Kaladesh has any cards that were, you know, offensive in any way. I think they were probably very careful, because even at the time that Kaladesh came out, companies had at least wised up a little bit that you had to take an eye to that while you're putting out products, and you have to look at art and things like that and make sure that you're not ruffling any feathers. So you know, these two cards, simply having Kaladesh in the name, I don't think is going to be enough to see a card get banned. So if anything, this video is just to let my audience know, you know, don't overreact, guys. Stay put. It is going to change Ether Drift a little bit, just that we're not going to see cards that mention Kaladesh specifically. We won't see Kaladesh in flavor text, things like that. But I don't think this is something to panic about. I don't think it's anything to, especially do not go out and start selling your cards off or anything like that. I think, you know, Alpha Investments made a video. Of course, people have their thoughts on Rudy, but I do think buying Kaladesh boxes, if you're someone that's into that side of Magic, could be interesting. They're definitely going to start just jumping up in value. But the real point of that is not, and Rudy did bring this up, but he was, you know, talking more about how they're going to potentially go back and basically reserve list those cards, maybe never print them again. I don't think that's the danger. The real danger with Kaladesh is if you want sealed product, you have to get it, because it will continue to get opened. People want the inventions. They want the, you know, those amazing art from the inventions. So people are going to keep opening Kaladesh, and it's just one of those supplies that's going to dwindle and dwindle and dwindle. And eventually those boxes will be probably thousands of dollars, but it won't necessarily be because of this, or at least not in large part because of this. It's going to be because people want the inventions badly enough to keep opening these boxes, even after, you know, about a decade, or even over a decade has passed. So yeah, that's what I would be doing. I don't do the investment side. I don't think it's a great decision for Magic. There's much more stable places to put your money, but I understand that for some people it kind of mingles with the collecting side, and that's why they do that. So that's my advice, guys. Just a short video. Hang on to your Commander cards. Don't get rid of Kaladesh cards. You know, if you're a fan of the plane, don't worry, it's still there. It did get renamed, but I still enjoy it. I'm still going to look at Ether Drift and be hopeful for some really cool vehicles. And once we start seeing those cards, check out this channel for spoiler videos and things like that. If you enjoy the content, leave a like. Feel free to subscribe to the channel. That helps it out quite a bit. Thank you guys so much for stopping by, and keep playing Commander.